A whole new empire of fun is taking over corporate North America. And of course, well, I say of course as if this is common knowledge, I refer to the Cedar Fair and Six Flags merger. Cedar Fair and Six Flags were the two largest North American amusement park operators. They have been in the process of working out a merger since I believe the winter. And today, July 1st, 2024, that merger is official. And to me, this is incredibly interesting because, from a roller coaster and amusement park enthusiast perspective, the ways that Cedar Fair and Six Flags operate, at least in the public eye, that everybody notices, I suppose, is that they operate in a way that is completely the opposite in some facets. So, Cedar Fair Entertainment Company, and I will name a few amusement parks that they operate around their, around their corporate map, because again, well, I'll get to that. So, Cedar Fair operates Cedar Point and Kings Island, two of the largest North American amusement parks. They're both in Ohio. On the West Coast, they have Knott's Berry Farm and California's Great America, both in California. They have Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is just to name a few. King's Dominion serves the Washington, D.C. area. Well, notice how none of those names, except for Cedar Point, which is part of the reason Cedar Fair is named Cedar Fair, you don't see the Cedar Fair name in any of those amusement park names, and you don't see them in the amusement parks either. I personally have visited at least 6 or 7 Cedar Fair amusement parks, from as far west as California's Great America in Santa Clara, which is right by San Jose, all the way to Carowinds in Charlotte and Canada's Wonderland up in Toronto. They do not slap their name everywhere. It's very hard to even find any evidence that that is the parent company unless you go actively looking for it. And of course, by that I mean, like, if the general park goer goes to one of these amusement parks, they'll never know what the company name is that is above them. Now, if you go to a Six Flags park, well, everybody knows Six Flags because their name is everywhere. Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. Great America in the Chicago area. All of their amusement parks, except for like 2, have the name Six Flags in them. The exceptions that I know of being, okay, 3. Darien Lake in New York, Frontier City in Kansas, and La Ronde, I think, is in like Vancouver or something, but nobody cares about La Ronde. The point is, Cedar Fair and Six Flags to the public eye operate so differently in the way that while Cedar Fair is very conservative about their name, Six Flags shoves it down your throat. And that is just the surface. I could go on forever about how they operate very differently and about the amusement industry in general. But I think I will spare the expense, give Chase some room to share his thoughts as a businessman himself, I suppose. And um, that's how I'm gonna open up this one. So
All
take it
right.
away.
Yeah. So one thing while you were giving your presentation, um, is that I was looking up like some articles. I mean, you said when we started recording, you said that you were reading an article. So maybe I'm on the same one. Maybe not. But
I
one
can
thing that
tell
kind
you
of
who it's
shocked me,
from. It
it
is
was
from
Hollywood Reporter. Is
no,
the one
mine
I'm
is
looking at.
Business Wire.
Ah, all right. As a business person, I would have expected myself to click that one, but I just clicked the top one that popped up for me. But yeah, so Six Flags and Cedar Fair obviously merged, but the numbers were the shocking thing. That's now they as Six Flags Entertainment Company or Fun on the Stock Exchange, which I thought that was interesting too, that they're now a public company. Um,
Yes, and that is why,
was
hence the title. I don't think I mentioned that. A whole corporate empire of fun or whatever was a play
yeah,
on their NYSE ticker.
yes. So 27 theme parks, 15 water parks, 9 hotels and resorts, as well as safaris, marinas, and other properties across the US, Canada, and Mexico. Like 27 theme parks together.
Oh
It's, I
yeah.
mean, I know Six Flags had them like a ton of them already, and that's what they were talking about the rest of this article. But it was just insane that like 27, like, and if you have access to that, like if you have some like crazy season pass, it'd probably be hella expensive because if you have access to 27 theme parks, like I'm sure those would only be for enthusiasts, but I mean, come on, that's a lot. That's a lot of access all over the country too, with how Six Flags is spread out, as you said. The one thing that I also want to touch on is the fact that you said, um, well, not you said, but you talked about how Six Flags like puts their name on everything, and I immediately thought about like, well, what is it going to be 6 point now? Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna, which I mean, the Cedar Fair CEO is going to become the new CEO, and then the Six Flags CEO is going to be an executive chairman, which are pretty much on the same like corporate standing, just different positions. But
And I do
which
believe Cedar Fair shareholders also have the majority stake in this new company. I mean,
really,
it's literally like a 51-49 or a
oh,
52-48. It might even be closer than
gotcha.
that. But yeah, Cedar Fair has the majority share by a very small margin. And I personally do like that Richard Zimmerman, excuse me, is going to retain his position as CEO. The Six Flags CEO, Salim Basul, who is that new executive chairman, has quite the reputation for hypocrisy and overall just not living up to expectations that he even brought upon himself. So,
Yikes.
yeah,
I'm sure
he
that's definitely going to be an interesting mix in terms of the corporate environment of the two, because I'm sure the corporate environment of the two are completely different, in at least a couple of ways. So mixing those two pools of people and, shifting some positions around to fit the new need is going to be probably an interesting one for them. But yeah, I mean, just as some of the like headlines were, it's just like creates new entertainment giant. I mean, Walt Disney and all that. I mean, those are Walt Disney and Universal Studios. Obviously, those are like the giants in Florida and California, but they don't have the reach that Six Flags has for everyone else. And then in terms of Ohio and, the other random West, I don't know. Does Cedar Fair like what's like the spread? I know there's like the
Mhm.
Pennsylvania or whatever, obviously Ohio.
So yeah, so just off the top of my head, Cedar Fair has parks, two in Ohio, of course. They have one in Pennsylvania. They have one that I believe serves the Kansas City area. There's one in Minnesota. So there is a lot in the Midwestern region of the United States. Like I said, they have
Yeah.
an amusement park in Toronto. They have one in Charlotte. Um, there's one in Virginia. It really is a lot of like the northeast part of the country, and then again, they do
Yeah.
have those two parks in California. Um,
Hmm.
and really, honestly, like the market they're merging into really doesn't look as much different as you would think. So Six Flags and well, Cedar Fair did recently purchase two water parks in Texas, and I know that that was like a little bit controversial because one of those water parks, um, back in I believe 2016, they had a water slide. It was like the tallest water slide in the world, and a 10-year-old boy was killed on it. So I don't think
Jeez.
those water parks, like that name, has ever really their reputation hasn't been great. Well, Cedar Fair took them over a couple years ago. But anyway, my
Hmm.
point of saying that is Six Flags has actual amusement parks in Texas. So they
Yeah.
do kind of serve more of the southern region now. I don't think either park has anything in Florida, ironically enough. I know, like I said, Six Flags has a park in New York, one in Kansas. So they really are serving a lot of the country. There is kind of that dead zone in like the Northwest. Um, but otherwise, I mean, they do have a lot of everything. And you're right, Disney and Universal have been thriving in California and Florida, but really, and of course, over in other parts of the world as well. But when you're talking about the United States, that's really all they have going for them.
Yeah.
And that is another one of the reasons why this, I guess I should call them the Six Flags Company, is going to be so successful as one, is because they serve pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah.
with now minimal competition when most of the competition was each other. I know that like if we talk about the Eastern Pennsylvania, an amusement park trip I made myself a few years ago was Cedar Fair's Dorney Park, which is in Allentown, Pennsylvania, on the far east side of the state. And then we went about 2 hours down south to Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. Well, now obviously they don't have to compete with each other, as if Great Adventure and Dorney are any competition anyway, because they're in two completely different leagues. Now their
Yeah.
only real competition is Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. You can probably guess who operates them, and that is their only amusement park. So they really are eliminating so much of their competition outside of really, I can't even consider Disney Universal competition when they don't even serve the same areas, but the SeaWorld company has amusement parks, and then they own the Busch Gardens parks in Williamsburg and also Tampa, but again, not really an outreach that's going to matter to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they really are everywhere now. And one of the things that you brought up, is it going to be Six Flags Cedar Point or Six Point or whatever you said? And I think the answer should be a hard no. Now, for starters,
Yeah.
um, it's going to take years for any changes to be visible. And again, I think if they can combine the sum of their parts, bring their strengths together, maybe they really can create something great. But it's going to be a long time. And for the average amusement park goer, nobody's going to know the difference if you don't change the name. And people don't necessarily like adapting to change. So
Yeah.
I don't expect to see Six Flags Cedar Point, or I don't expect to see the Six Flags name taken off of any current Six Flags parks, because why would you? You still have that name.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, now the merger company still has Six Flags in the
Right.
name, so
And I find it funny, if you see the picture, the name of the company is Six Flags, but they adopted Cedar Fair's like font with like the red flag dotting the I and stuff.
really.
That was a very Cedar Fair thing if you like compare the two like designs, which I found it funny how they brought that together. It just feels like it feels wrong knowing
Yeah.
like these two companies as separate for so long. But yeah, I don't expect any names to change or anything like that. I don't think they should because people aren't going to care and they can keep their money. But, I guess we'll find out in due time.
Yeah. No, it shouldn't be, especially now that the merger is actually complete and they are officially one. Um, but yeah, I mean, just the fact that they were their main competitors, like each other's main competitor, and as you know, a nationwide and even international entertainment company in the specific. Because I mean, even like you mentioned Disney, like Disney's in a different realm. When I went to Disney for the first and only time, the main thing that I came out of it thinking was number one, Cedar Point has better rides,
Huh,
but
of course.
Cedar Point doesn't have they are in the minor leagues when it comes to anything experience. You can't beat Disney's by the fact that they, were in everyone's childhood already. Like everyone
And
knows what's there and the
yeah,
experience itself, just the environments and the whole I don't know. And that's where it's like it's a whole different realm because Disney creates a realm of their
yeah.
own versus Cedar Point is just like look at this ride. Look at this ride. Look at this ride. Look
Well,
at some silly little western town. Like,
and and thus explains the difference between a theme park and an amusement park, right? Cedar
yeah,
Fair does not do theme parks. Technically, I believe the only one that is considered a theme park is Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California. But even then, they specialize in rides. I mean, they've got one of the better ride selections in the state. Well, maybe not, but California is just very competitive on that front. But
yeah,
yeah, and you do make a good point. Disney is so much more than just amusement parks because pretty much every kid for the last 70 years grows up on Disney. So
yeah.
you're right. Disney is in a league of its own, but they are also not trying to do what Cedar Point is trying to do.
No.
Or
And
and
that's
of
why
course,
it's like
Yeah, Chase and I use Cedar Point as a very frequent example, not only because it is the biggest example and arguably, one of the best amusement parks in the world, at least in terms of their ride collection. I would argue that they do a lot, not as well as a sort of, trade-off, but we are also from the Cleveland area, so you will hear a lot of Cedar Point mentioned. But even still, I mean, it is the best example. Cedar Point is in a league of its own. It kind of has been for the last, 30 some odd years. Well, and what was the biggest competitor of Cedar Point in what was called the roller coaster wars back in the 80s and 90s? Well, it was Six Flags Magic Mountain down in
Oh yeah.
California. They were always trying to one up each other, break each other's records. They were both going for, most roller coasters in any amusement park, which Six Flags Magic Mountain has kind of ran away with. But um, it's kind of funny now that those two are together because even though they were a country away from each other, they were kind of each other's bitter rivals for a really long time. Like I said, that was really mostly in the 90s and into the 2000s a little bit.
I don't know. My main point that's kind of interesting is when you look at it from and you I mean, this is your business perspective as you call me the businessman here.
Yeah.
Um, is that I mean, competition always benefits the consumer. That is the borderline, that is the whole concept of competition and what it does for a market or an economy in general. Um, and the only thing that I'm kind of interested in is the fact that with them coming together and them being former rivals, who do they have motivation to compete against anymore? And that's where like driving each other's records or whatever, like that stuff forced those things to grow. That's why Six Flag has run away from that record because of their competition. Not because they just felt like it, but because of their competition. And that's why I'm sure Cedar Point has innovated with stuff like Top Thrill 2 and even just Top Thrill Dragster itself whenever that was built, to probably compete with Six Flags because that was, it's a huge roller coaster, super fast, or I guess it was. Now there's Top Thrill 2, which is Top Thrill still down?
Yes. So Top Thrill 2, which was Cedar Point's sequel to their original Top Thrill Dragster roller coaster, which opened in 2003 as the first full circuit roller coaster to eclipse the 400-foot height barrier, and spent the next 20 years being notorious for its poor reliability. Um, 8 days into its official operations, Top Thrill 2 went down again and has yet to reopen. So the theory there is that there is an issue with the ride vehicles that they're working on. I don't know what that issue is exactly, but it apparently has applied to all three of the ride's vehicles, not just one. So they have yet to reopen the ride. Cedar Point's spokesperson Tony Clark said that the ride is supposed to be reopened sometime this summer, but obviously as we creep through the summer and we have not seen anything, we will see how that goes. I was fortunate enough to get to ride Top Thrill 2 for a season pass holder preview event. And it was a pretty good ride. I'm not sure if it was better than the original, but obviously kind of pretty difficult to find out right now when I can't get on either of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you know, I mean, you said the ride's vehicles. Is there anything more specific than that? Like, is it just, have they announced an issue? Have they announced an initiative to fix it? Like, or at least an initiative to fix like a specific thing? I don't know. I don't get it. It seems like it's
So,
quite
yeah, I'm not
8 days,
entirely
really?
certain. Yeah, I don't know if it was 8 days into the regular season or like 8 days after media day and stuff.
Yeah.
So the most recent update on Cedar Point's website is from June 4th, and it says Top Thrill 2 remains closed as Zamperla, the ride's manufacturer, continues working on a mechanical modification to the coaster vehicles. While we do not yet have a reopening date, we hope to provide more information soon. So it doesn't say
As,
much, which wouldn't surprise me because they usually don't say much about it. I don't know exactly what's going on.
hmm,
I don't think
that's,
anybody does.
yeah. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. They spent so long building this thing, and it seemed like they spent so long testing it. The fact that like literally 8 days, whatever the time frame is, if that's not correct. Like I don't know, it's absurd. I mean, it's very ironic because Top Thrill was down all the time, and I never wrote the original. But it's just yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it
Like, and
it, it is.
to think how many people like probably got a season pass for maybe even that solely being the reason. Like, I can't imagine how many like customer service calls they're getting, being like, "Yeah, I want a refund," because like that's like the only
Well,
reason.
and that is not going to happen, of course, because that is not how corporate America works. But yeah, I mean, Cedar Point sells a lot of season passes because they mark them ridiculously down. But you're absolutely right. Um, this being the first major roller coaster that Cedar Point has added since 2018, it probably has ushered in some former season pass holders or some new ones
Yeah.
um, to get season passes. And if they didn't go to those preview events like I did, or if they just didn't make it onto the ride before before it went down, it really is a shame. And like I said, while the hope is that it'll be reopened this year, who really knows? I mean, I have
Mhm.
no idea. It doesn't seem like Cedar Point's people know, and obviously you can't reopen it until you're ready. So there's nothing wrong with not knowing. People aren't going to be happy, but if it has to be done, I mean, I personally understand. But yeah, it is ironic. I mean, obviously, Top Thrill Dragster was finally retired after a pretty bad incident occurred in August of 2021, where a loose part came off of a one of the ride vehicles as it was slowing down, and hit a woman in the head. And
Yeah.
while she was probably paid off years ago, the last thing that was released to the public is that she suffered a lot of injuries. Like, I mean, the list did come out and it was massive and basically
Wow.
permanent. Like, I mean, she like mentally,
Hmm.
she'll never be able to work again. She needs constant supervision. Like, she was very
Really?
seriously alt. Oh yeah,
I
she
didn't
was
realize it was
very.
that bad. I thought it was just I knew it was like a brain injury, but I thought it was just like
Yeah, no, it more or less disabled her for the rest of her life.
holy crap, dude.
And that was the final nail in the coffin for Cedar Point. That was not the only incident the ride had suffered. And of course, it was probably down more than it was up. I was surprised when they closed it, but I mean, it gave them an excuse to do that. Turn it into Top Thrill 2. It is interesting the way it is right now, and like I said, I like it. I don't know if I like it more, but yeah, I mean, reliability, and this is also something that was kind of at risk. So, the original Top Thrill Dragster was built by a company called Intamin Amusement Rides, which is known among the amusement industry for being some of the most innovative and one of the best roller coaster manufacturers around, even by then. Zamperla, on the other hand, has never really built a major roller coaster that anybody has ever liked. And um, they they built a roller coaster at Cedar Point last year, the Wild Mouse roller coaster, which is not that big.
Super big one.
Yeah, no, there's not that much to it, and they couldn't even get that up.
Hold on, hold on. Shout out to Chase the Mouse. Just saying.
Yes, the name of one of the mice is Chase, indeed. Um, and it took them forever to get that running smoothly. So I think a lot of people were rightfully nervous when Zamperla had the massive undertaking of fixing one of the most broken roller coasters in the world, to put it in a blunt but true statement. And I guess they lived up to about what we expected, which is a shame. I mean, good on them for trying, and it's definitely going to put their name out there, but maybe not in the way that they would like after all this.
Yeah. I mean, bad press is press, I guess. All press is good press, or whatever the actual phrase is. But, um, yeah, I mean, it almost makes you wonder why in the world would they even have Zimperla and not a more reputable brand or manufacturer, engineering company, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Is there a proper term for that in the
Mm,
coaster world.
yeah, manufacturer or whatever. I mean,
Probably. But like it really does make you wonder why they even selected those guys and not you maybe even intern him again, even though those guys obviously top thrill was not reliable, but at least that brand is. Or like
right.
who made like Steel Vengeance?
Steel
Do you
Vengeance
know?
was made by Rocky Mountain Construction or RMC. The reason they didn't go with RMC is because RMC has a very specific model where, as opposed to building ground up roller coasters, which they have done and they have ground up models now, but what they are known for is converting
Renovating?
old wooden roller coasters into steel wood hybrids. That's
Yeah.
what Steel Vengeance is. They took the old, decrepit Mean Streak roller coaster and turned it into Steel Vengeance, added about 40 feet to the height, gave it, a whole
Yeah.
new layout, and turned it into the best roller coaster in the world. That's why RMC couldn't do it, is because they really
Best roller
don't
coaster?
know how. What's that?
Best roller coaster in the world?
Very commonly agreed upon, yeah.
By you?
hmm My favorite.
Really?
hmm
Your absolute favorite?
Yep.
Like in your like many roller coasters and also
132 of them.
parks? Really?
Yep.
I mean, I'm a Maverick guy myself, personally. But
Mavericks in my top 10.
what number in the top 10?
Allow me to pull up the spreadsheet. As I do
Of
this,
course.
I will explain why Intamin was not hired on to do the conversion themselves, and that is because Maverick is at number 9. Intamin and Cedar
9?
Fair, yeah.
I
Intamin
was
and Cedar
yawning. That's why that
Fair.
sounded weird.
Oh, I thought you were just in shock.
No, I
Uh,
mean, kind of, but like I'm not that in shock. I mean, 132 roller coasters, like you've been exposed to a lot more than I have.
yeah.
Like Steel Vengeance is top 5, but I will say I am a Millennium hater. Not because I'm scared of it, because it's the most boring thing ever. It's so tall and so fast, but that's all it has is that's it. You just you just pretty much poop your pants like you did about 10 minutes ago, all the way
No
up,
way you just said that.
all the way up like to the tippity top, 400 whatever how tall
310
it is.
feet.
Of course you know. And then you just drop down. And then to me, it just feels like you're going the same speed and the same thing is happening for like 4 minutes. I don't know how long the ride is, but it feels like an eternity after that. You just like pray for eternal life going up and then you just endure it. That's what it feels like for the rest of it. Maverick, you, which even obviously like, especially you definitely, probably like you know what everything's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, and I genuinely do. I've been on it plenty of times now, but like every time I'm on Maverick, you're just getting like I don't know. It's just action after action after action. For Millennium's just like, look how big and tall we are. We go up, then we go down, and then that's it, and then we come back. Versus Maverick is we're going left, right, up, down. What is it? More than 90 degrees? Is it? What's the
Yeah,
angle? Is it
the
more than?
first
Okay,
drop is 95 degrees.
yeah. 95-degree drop that doesn't feel like anything else because I don't
I
think any
know.
other ride
I agree.
in
Maverick does have my
yeah
favorite first drop on any roller coaster ever,
yeah and then
outside of
even like the
Russian Hershey Park. But
and then like even going up to that drop you're going 60 miles per hour so it's like the highest not the highest but the fastest like lift hill you're ever on and then they just drop you into a literal like snake neck thingy going down and then you go bam 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 and then you get launched in the mine too and you're like crapping your pants like Maverick to me is like the part it's like an action movie. Millennium's like a 4.5 hour movie
I
that
mean,
only the beginning is good.
it was named after Top Cruise after all.
Tom Cruise does not deserve that bad of a roller coaster.
I was referring to Maverick. It's a joke.
Oh, Maverick. I thought you were talking about Millennium.
No, no, I was making a joke because Tom Cruise
Yeah.
and Top Gun. Yeah.
Yeah. You
No, I
got the
agree.
mustache. We get
I
it.
I do like Maverick better than Millennium Force. I do think Millennium Force is a great roller coaster, but Maverick
I
Maverick is built to put a lot into a little. Maverick is the
yeah.
living proof that size doesn't matter.
Yeah. Absolutely. Six
That's what it
inches,
served for.
95 degrees, same thing.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
like,
That should be
like
the title of
you,
the episode, but
yeah, we're putting that. That's the title.
all
DM
right.
me that so we have that saved. Well, actually, just DM it to me, but you're gonna do this episode anyway. So, um, but yeah, I don't know. Just Maverick just keeps me like engaged. Millennium, and again, I think obviously Millennium is cool. Like it's something that it's not like a absolutely will not ride. But if I have the choice not to over like anything else in the park that's, up to par-ish, like I'm not riding Millennium because it also has crazy long lines because everyone's like, "Wow, that thing's huge. Wow, it's super fast."
And that is
But
why
it's
when
like
it opened in 2000, it captured the attention of the entire world. Much like Top
yeah,
Thrill Dragster in 2003 and its
yep,
predecessor, Magnum XL 200 in 1989, Millennium Force was the first roller coaster to break into its height category. All these coasters, of course, it's your point. Millennium
yeah,
Force was the first full circuit 300-foot tall roller coaster, and I believe also, well, no, that's not true, but its 93 miles an hour made it the fastest full circuit roller coaster at the time as well. Um, and that blew the world away. Um,
yeah.
so Millennium Force is
No,
a big
and
deal, and it's one of the most iconic roller coasters in the world. But yeah, there are some things that it does not do that well.
well, and it's just and again, I don't want to be like I don't want to like put off that I'm a complete hater. Again, I will write it if it's like no line because it's still 300 feet tall. I'm still crapping my pants to the maximum going up that thing because you don't feel secure and you're 300 feet up and all it has on that thing is like a lap bar and that's it. A lap bar on a 300-foot tall roller coaster that's going almost 100 miles an hour versus Steel Vengeance, which I mean, of course it needs it because you're going upside down. Steel Vengeance, I feel locked in. Wait, does Steel Vengeance only have a lap bar?
Steel Vengeance has a lap bar.
Okay, so I'm talking out of my butt, um
I mean, so no, not
but I
entirely.
still feel more secure in Steel Vengeance. I feel like I'm more locked in because isn't it like tighter around like the legs? Like it feels it's more of a cage and the lap bar.
Kinda. So Intamin's T-bar lap bar, that is what it is called, which is found on Millennium Force and formerly Top Thrill Dragster, is known in the amusement industry as one of the best lap bars or just overall restraints for how small it is. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean you're obviously as safe on that as you are on any other roller coaster, but it virtually looks like a pool noodle that sits on your
Yeah,
leg
it's terrifying, dude.
and it
That
feels
like,
like there's nothing
oh,
there. Steel
yeah,
Vengeance's lap bars and RMC's lap bars on most of their hybrid conversions are much more constrictive in a sense. Yeah, there's a little padding like down closer to your ankles that sits on there, and the lap bar itself is a
yeah,
bit bulkier. People don't like those restraints as much, although I don't have a personal problem with them. But
yeah.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not. I'm definitely not as comfortable, but I rather be uncomfortable and safe than unsafe and not comfortable. Like,
yeah.
um. So it's just I don't know, but
And this has
still,
turned into a very Cedar Point centric episode, but yeah,
yeah. Which I mean, you could have your own podcast on that, you little coaster boy. But
we probably could.
um,
Tried once.
yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, with Millennium Force, it's just I don't know. It's not my thing, but like Maverick and yeah, as we said, like size, it proves that size doesn't matter because that thing is not big at all. I mean, it's like you could probably fit that in like a millionaire's backyard, no problem. And it'd be super fun. But and I also really like that area that Maverick's in. That's definitely my favorite area of the park. But it's just I don't know. It's a mix. I'm very picky because obviously, I mean, like the first time I went with you, I was like, no, I was terrified and not really into anything. And then I kind of just went for it. Was that with you that I like went for the first time on like Gatekeeper or
Um, I don't really remember. We've been to Cedar Point a good amount over the years.
yeah, but like I've also went with Max and I've also went with like Sivan and the brothers. So like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Also,
Do you
speaking of
have a
going with
season pass
people,
this
you already kind of brought up my point.
year? Oh, excuse me.
So my sister and my sister's boyfriend both work at Cedar Point. So I have 2 free tickets
Hmm,
um already. Like I have the QR code. She already sent me them. So like I can go whenever.
that sounds great. Well, I was supposed to go today. My friend backed out and
Yeah,
didn't
I know that.
go anyway. I mean, obviously, I have a season pass, but yeah, we should
Yeah.
definitely go soon.
Yeah, especially because we haven't gone in a
A
while.
few
I've
years.
gone, yeah, I mean, I've gone with my friends, but yeah, we as in just us two hasn't gone in a while. But yeah, I'll probably like go with you once and then probably try to go with them once, something like that. Because I
Yeah,
have
there you
two.
go.
My sister allocated 2 of her tickets. Because you get tickets based on how many hours you work, and
Well, that
like
makes
it's like progressive. So, um, but yeah. But yeah, I got free tickets. I wasn't gonna buy a season pass because I barely used it last year. Like it's nice having it,
I'm,
but I think I went like twice the whole
I'm
year.
hard. I'm hardly
Once,
making
one,
mine worthwhile at this point.
yeah, like once in the summer, once on the last day of Hollow Weekends, which was actually really fun. I went with um my friend Max to Hollow Weekends, and that was really fun. I like doing Hollow Weekend stuff. And funny enough, we actually Cedar Fair, don't sue me. I get free tickets anyway, so you can't hurt me. But we we would drove, wow, drived English, only my native language. We drove 40 minutes to Cedar Point with my friend Rob and my friend Max. Rob had a summer pass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He assumed that yeah, summer pass means season pass, right? I mean, season is the summer and, it's the fall, close enough.
Even though they clearly market that it doesn't work after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
We
okay.
get there, and that's when we determine that, yeah, this isn't gonna work. When Rob finally like confessed that not confessed, I just think he like again he like disregarded it, so we wouldn't think about it, and we were just like, yeah, we all have season passes. I walk in, I got my gold pass. Max has his gold pass, but his whole family has season passes. So as we're sitting there trying to finesse, and I feel like if you get like a teenager who doesn't care, he'll just let you go through. But like if your thing doesn't scan, like the teenager can't just let you go through. Like there's nothing to scan. It's not gonna work. So it's like that's different than, it's not scanning at all, or like some other thing where it's like kind of scanning, like whatever. So he first thing he does is just try going through. Then um we we decide, how like it shows up like your profile photo, your like photo or whatever,
Hmm.
like the ticket person sees your photo like almost like a confirmation that like you're the person with a ticket kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Max has access to all of his family's tickets. So which it's kind of funny that we didn't just use like his dad or something. We used Max's sister's pass to get Rob in. And what he did is a really windy day, so he almost had an excuse, but like he had a hoodie. He put the hoodie on, put the hood up, and then like scrunched his like hood all like super far in. Like you could not see his face barely at all. Like he looked like an idiot, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And
Right.
then we sat there debating the whole time about like the order of everything. And it was like, okay, so if it's gonna be like green as in like good pass, is it gonna be, would it better be green, green, bad, or green, bad, good? Like that's where we started, and then we finally had the revelation that we were just gonna use Max's pass. But still, when Max would scan his sister's pass, which by the way, he sent it to Rob, so it wouldn't be like Max is scanning for 2 people.
And
Rob has his own.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
you can scan for two people, but
yeah, you could, but I don't know, we were just trying to be like as
casual, yeah.
seamless as possible. Yeah. So, but the funniest part about it is that Rob obviously scanned it, and then like Max's little sister popped up, his little like blondie little sister, and Rob's a like 200 pound, 6 foot like brown hair man, like
Yeah,
going through with a hoodie was scrunched up, but he got through. And I don't remember what order we picked, but whatever it was, it worked. And dude, it was like the biggest celebration after. We like waited. Of course, we're not gonna be like, yes, we got it, we got through, it worked. Like they're gonna be like, that's like that's sus. But we probably walked 100 feet, and they were like, no way. But yeah, I don't know. It's
that
just
is insane. I mean, the ignorance of the employee
and
had
the
to be
ignorance of
through
Rob.
the roof, and the ignorance of Rob, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't know. And it was a silly mistake. Like I don't like hate him for it. I hate that he didn't like maybe think about it a little bit before getting just dragged out there and then wasting about 30 minutes of our time because we were like going to the ticket office seeing like how much is a day pass and all this sort of stuff and it was just not worth it. Especially when you go to the ticket booth and you don't pay online, they mark that crap up and holy moly, it was like it was going to be absurd if because we were just like, all right, Rob, just buy a ticket or just like upgrade your pass to a gold pass. And both of those solutions were like absurdly expensive.
Oh yeah,
And then like I said, we finally like I I think Max like didn't say anything and then he like barely mentioned that his like family has passes or something like that. And we were all like, what do you like why didn't you say something? Like we can just use those. The whole time we're
yeah,
sitting there essentially trying to like bypass security or like not hop a fence because obviously that's stupid, but like just find a way to get in by finessing when we don't even have to finesse, we just have to make Rob look like a little girl. So like which
yeah.
is, still 6 foot, um but yeah, I mean I don't know. I have 2 free tickets for the season, so it would be I definitely want to go, especially because I'm moving in first week of August to college, so it's like
Ooh,
obviously once I moved in. So like we're talking like
soon.
next couple weeks,
Yeah.
ideally sooner than later.
And see, I'm
So,
trying to avoid going on weekends. So like, you get home
mm,
what? You come home on Thursdays.
I mean I'm gonna be home Wednesday, um,
Oh,
but I possibly doing fireworks.
oh yeah, I work on Wednesday anyway at 5. Well,
Well, and also Wednesdays I'm in Columbus. That's the only thing is though, like I'm here on the weekends, so I don't know if we have much of a choice besides Mondays.
yeah,
Mondays are
that's
the only thing.
Monday would be ideal.
I mean, there's like Monday the 15th.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. But yeah, I want to shift to more of a just casual thing. Let's stop talking about roller coasters. Let's talk about our weeks or whatever. So what? I don't know when's the last time we recorded. I mean, probably just look at the last time we DM'd. I mean, it was like, I think a week ago, a couple weeks ago,
June.
something like that.
There's no way it was June 9th.
No, it's June 27th, I think. Well, no, that was when we were texting. Um,
Has it been that long, really?
oh no, June 17th. Even June 17th, I mean, we just finished the month. June 17th is like halfway through. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago that we
Huh.
recorded.
I
Wow.
mean,
So,
we definitely are not as ahead as we used to be. We used to
oh
record like
no.
beginning of
No,
June.
episode 5 is coming out this week and we're recording
Yeah,
episode 6. So, we are a kind of we're like only like one or two ahead, but it's fine. Ahead is better than, you know,
not.
restricted by the schedule.
Yeah,
But any events in the past 2 weeks? Any notable,
not not that I can think of. I mean,
really?
so I don't know. I mean, this isn't much of a story, but like how David Buster's has those coin pushers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, for starters, let's go. Let's talk about the good old days, right? So,
The good old days. What are the
can you
good old
remember
days? What's a year?
the early 2010s? So, maybe even mid. So you go back to the good old days, and suppose you go to the arcade, right? And
Okay.
everything's like you get your physical, like you get your bucket of coins.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Dave and Buster's always had power cards, but you get your bucket of
Yeah, but if
coins,
you yeah, if you went to like the
like a Chuck E.
S and
Cheese
T,
or
S&P.
S&T.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get your bucket of coins, and everything's got paper tickets. These are the good
Oh yeah.
days, right? And that is when arcades in general, but especially coin pushers, were at their peak. So like the original coin pusher, and I'm going to use Dave and Buster's as an example. You swipe your power card, and it just gives you like a bunch of coins. Like it drops out like 20 coins at the bottom of the machine.
Yeah.
So you put your coin in wherever you want, and then if the coins like fall over, not only do you get to play those coins in the machine, but you also get like so many tickets
Yeah.
for each coin that falls. I think it was like 8 tickets per coin, whatever. So
Okay.
you hit the big jackpot, and all these tickets are coming out. Because remember, this is the time to pay for tickets.
Oh yeah.
And so you'd have to sit there forever like guarding your tickets. And that's another thing, running around the arcade like looking for stray tickets that somebody left behind. And sometimes you'd find really good strands of them. Well,
Oh yeah.
anyway, and then the second version of Coin Pusher, was the coins were all inside the machine, but every coin that fell would be worth so many tickets, and then you'd still get the paper tickets. Well, now coin pushers don't award tickets directly at all. So the coin pushers they have at Dave and Buster's now, and at our local Dave and Buster's, the only coin pushers are Star Trek themed.
Okay.
So you shoot the coins, like the coins are all automated, like I said, and um you so instead of like knocking the coins down, I don't think does anything anymore on its own.
Really? It's like the
Like
whole point of a coin pusher.
right. So every coin you like play, it goes into this bonus wheel. And once you light up the whole bonus wheel, it spins around and then you get bonus coins that way. But I don't think it used to be that every coin that fell would also add to your bonus total, but I don't even think it does that anymore. I think
Wow.
they literally just do nothing. What you're going for is these cards. So the cards will fall.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen the cards.
Yeah, and those are worth like there used to be two different kinds. And like one kind was worth 50 coins and the other was worth 100 or 100 and 250 or whatever.
Yeah.
Um so anyway, my family went to Dave and Buster's last Wednesday. We all got our own power cards or whatever, but my mom and my sister love coin pushers, and so do I. I've
Okay.
been hooked on them multiple times. But my mom and my sister, they like the casino as well. So, we go to Dave and Buster's, they want to play coin pushers because it feels like a slot machine.
Yeah.
So this Star Trek coin pusher, and I've never noticed this before, so I think this is a new thing. There's 8 cards, and they're all worth the same amount of tickets now. It's not like how they used to be when there was two different kinds. They're all worth the same amount of tickets, but there's 8 different cards you can collect, and if you get all 8 cards, you get 2,500 tickets,
Hmm.
as opposed to the 800 that you get for just 8 cards. So
Yeah.
not as much for the tickets, but more just for the sake of being able to say we did it. We start going for these things. So initially, when we walked into the arcade, I did not immediately go to the coin pusher. Now, my mom and my sister did, and I eventually did join them. But, we're sitting at these coin pushers forever, and, my mom and my sister, they're getting their cards, and I start getting some cards of my own. And it turns out that between the three of us, we collected, a bunch of cards, but we
Yeah.
had 6 unique ones,
Hmm.
and we just needed 2 more. So I had a really big stack of cards, like really close to the end of my machine, and so did my mom. And we both had the one that we needed. So
Yeah.
we were both kind of going for that at the same time. Well, then the last card that none of us even had access to and is supposedly rare drops in my machine. So, they're all
Hmm.
like, well, go for this one, go for this one. And I wanted to go for the other one first, like the big stack of them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. Well, eventually, I got all those. They all ended up falling. And then I've got this last one in my machine that I've got to go for. So, it's half price on Wednesdays, but I still spent like almost all my balance on these coin pushers, and I put like $62 on my power card. So this is not a
Yeah.
cheap coin pushing adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I put all this money. I ended up getting it. So we had all 8 cards. We probably had like 20 or 30 in total. I felt so like ashamed and unaccomplished, but we did it, and
Yeah.
that's what matters. Um,
Yeah. You got your dopamine hit. You
exactly. So
yeah.
we did it, my family as a team, and the girl at the poor girl at the prize counter is like, I haven't seen these in a really long time. I'm like, yeah, this isn't anything to be proud of. So, that happened. We collected the full set of Star Trek coins, was my point.
So you guys
And
got 2,500 tickets?
the 8 cards together counted for 2,500 tickets as opposed to 800, and then we had a bunch of other
Wow.
tickets as well, or other cards as well that were all worth 100 tickets each. So my power card, we merged all like the tickets and credits onto my card in the end, and I had over 12,000 tickets by the end of the
Jeez, dude,
day.
what can you buy with that?
You can buy a decent amount, and not all of those were from that day. I think I had about 1,800 from like previous visits already because I never use the tickets. I just save them for like
Yeah.
nothing basically. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, but if something comes up, then you kind of have a bank already.
right, right.
Well, like, how much is like a, what's like a big item there? You
Well,
know?
they have like PlayStations and AirPods
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
know, but
Those
like,
are all like 100,000 plus tickets.
oh, jeez.
I mean, these are huge, huge items. Like the tickets are. By the time you would end up earning all those tickets, you probably spent more on power cards than you would on the
Oh,
items.
yeah, I mean, that's the point. That's how
Right,
Dave and Buster's makes money.
right.
I think that they engineer it to where, yeah, I mean, instead, like, you have to spend more. There's no way. I know there's some people, I've seen like random TikToks of like certain guys who are like really good at like a game that gets a lot of tickets and
Well,
they are just there like
yeah,
running
like
it
they
up.
just brought it out. We both got pretty good at Stacker, I know,
Yeah,
back in the day. So Stacker, for those like 4 people who don't know what Stacker is, the squares like rotate, they move like back and forth on the board, and you have to stop them, and then you have to stack them and as they go. And you start off with 3 squares, but then it moves down to 2 and eventually 1. And if
yeah,
you make it about 3/4 of the way up the board, is the minor prize level. Now, the smaller version of this game you find at like the movie theater or the grocery store or whatever. The minor prizes are usually just like a really weird like toy figure something or other. Well, at Dave and Buster's, this minor prize is 200 tickets, which is more than most games pay out. Now, in my experience, the 200 ticket mark is pretty easy to get to. I can get to it maybe about half the time or more that I play
yeah,
Stacker. So you can either cash out at 200 tickets or you can keep going. And remember, you only have 1 square to work with, so you cannot miss at all. There is no buffer, there is no leeway. If you hit continue, you have to stack at least 4 more times before you get to the major prize, which is 1,000 tickets. Now, I've done it before, you've done it before. I have
yeah.
decided that it's not worth trying because I tried it maybe
Really?
4 or 5 times last Wednesday. I did not get it any of those times. And those 4 or 5 times that I tried and failed, that's 800 or 1,000 tickets right there that I could have had if I had just
Yeah.
cashed out. So I go for the cash out at 200 method. But I remember we were
Hmm.
both pretty good at that one time we went to Dave and Buster's together. And I've still got it a little bit.
I wonder, I don't remember it. How many, did I get 1,000 more than one time? I feel like I did.
I wouldn't doubt
Maybe.
it. I think both of us probably did. It just got to the point where I didn't want to try because I kept failing.
Yeah, no, you get unmotivated because you like the whole point. I mean, they're designed that way, but it's like you get that's the whole point where it's like the continue part because you get so close, or at least it appears so close, and then you have like the four really hard ones. So you're like, kind of like double or nothing almost kind of mindset.
Well,
But
yeah, more
yeah,
like quintuple or nothing, but yeah.
yeah, but it's just I don't know. Yeah, that
No,
game that game's pretty crazy if you can get good at it. Because a
oh,
thousand
absolutely.
every time. But
Yeah, and I
I
saw
don't.
some guys there that would get it more often
Yeah,
than not. Like I said, I'll make it to 200 and cash out and be content. But you can
yeah,
stack up the
because
tickets
200
pretty
tickets isn't
quickly.
bad.
Now,
Yeah,
yeah, and Stacker is one of the more expensive games at the arcade, probably for that
yeah,
reason because it has such a high payout if you get good at it.
yep,
Um, but yeah, I mean it is interesting how they, meticulously design those games. Well, anyway,
yeah.
back to your original question, if anything important happened, yeah, my family got the set of Star Trek ticket or cards at Dave and Buster's.
Hmm.
Now, I did find another game, and so I work in a bowling alley that, has a game room and stuff and escape rooms, as I've mentioned plenty of times before. So we can make like time cards for ourselves where we can just have unlimited arcade play for a certain amount of
Oh,
time,
jeez.
and you
Dude,
don't need to.
I gotta go to your work and be like, yeah, I want a time card.
Well, I don't
Um,
know if we sell them. That's the only thing. But we'll just like give them to
Aaron,
employees. We're not supposed to, but we do. Well, anyway, point is,
Aaron,
they don't
I'm
award
not
tickets.
asking you to sell it to me. I would not. I'm saying slide me an unlimited card, Aaron Westlake. That's what I'm saying.
I will consider sliding you a time card if I can, but my point is, um, there is a game that I discovered that is pretty. Dude, who? Hold on.
Are
I'm
you
turning
getting
on
a
Do Not Disturb.
call?
No, my friend is blowing up my phone, and every time he does
No,
that,
it was like
so
11:24 p.m.
yeah, right. So there's this game that they don't have at Dave and Buster's, but they do have at my work called Break the Plate, and it's what Down the Clown is, right? You have like the rubber
Uh,
ball clowns stand up
yeah,
together,
yeah, yeah,
throw
yeah,
and knock
yeah,
them
yeah.
down. It's basically like that, but it's all digital. So like the plates
Oh,
will appear on the screen, and you just throw at the screens, and then certain plates are worth certain points. But I played it literally one time, and I got like 180 tickets because that's how good I
jeez.
did. It's so easy, but of course on a time card, you're not awarded tickets. So I was really
Hmm,
unsatisfied, like the amount of tickets I could have gotten on these various games if I would actually had like a paid card. So I'm tempted, tomorrow's half price games. I might go just for the sake of like earning tickets on these games that I'm like really good at.
wow. Yeah, well, if you slide me an unlimited time card, theoretically, because Aaron would never do that. Um, if your boss is listening, but
Yeah.
uh, um, like you don't get tickets at all.
No, it
Or
literally
is it
does.
just
And
a
it's
is is it a whole different category? Is it just for like testing purposes, pretty much?
No, I mean I don't know why they I mean some promotions like if you buy things in bundles like I know Main Event will do a thing where you can get an unlimited gameplay for so long. It's just kind of like that. It's supposed to be its own thing for
Oh,
like its own like demographic.
gotcha.
It just doesn't award ticket. Like it literally says on the like swipe card reader thing that like tells you how many
Yeah,
tickets you won, that tickets will not be awarded, but it tells you how many you won or you how many you would have won.
really. That's gotta suck because if you do really well
Yeah, no,
and
you're
it's like,
literally looking right at it.
yeah, you're looking at what you could have had. Ugh, that's terrible. That's like
Yeah.
some mental manipulation right there.
No, it
That's
really is, but
good.
the fact that it's working kind of bugs me.
Yeah, I mean that's good marketing, but damn, that hurts. Like,
That it
like oof.
does.
Yeah. In terms of my week, um, I guess 2 weeks, as we said, because 2 weeks since the last time we recorded, as in 2 weeks since the last time we've had long form conversation. Um, has been pretty interesting. We just finished week 4 of the week 10 journey of to the Ohio State University marching band. Um, which I mean, it only gets harder, and there's only one day this week, and it's tomorrow, which is honestly kind of annoying because it's like I usually am used to staying there for like 3.5 days, and it's like I literally go there and like not the tendency, but like the temptation to just want to just drive right back home because it's like I'm driving 2 hours to do a 3 hour thing, then drive back the next morning. Like it's versus I go there for 3 days. Like I feel like I get like more worth when I go usually during like a usual week. But
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
this whole journey's over in like a month, and this specifically is pretty much the only time this happens where it's one day. So I don't know. I'm not like complaining. It's just I don't know. And I can't. I'm not gonna not talk about how it feels like it's like not as worth. But I mean, I gotta. have a song memorized for tomorrow that I'm like 50% on. Essentially tomorrow, if I just run it like 25 times, I'll be good. So, and also
Yeah,
because we're
there.
playing and marching, that's a different thing where it's like I don't even know if I'll be able to, even if I was fully memorized, like if I was stationary, if I could just play fully memorized, I don't know. It's different when you're playing and marching because you got less brain room to tap into something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's been interesting. The one thing about this whole journey, and unfortunately this is the first time I'm losing my vlog streak because I did not have the realistic availability today. I kind of did. Like if I woke up earlier and knocked it out then, yes. But then I would have gotten terrible sleep. So like realistically and from a health standpoint, that would not be a good thing. So I'm just gonna, uh body positivity, whatever the hell, self-care. That's what I'm doing. I'm delaying it for one day and losing the Monday streak um in the sake of that. And also just cuz I like ending my vlogs with like a reflection and like what's the week's lesson kind of thing. And I did not do that yet and I didn't even record it yet. So it's like I don't even like and I want to be able to properly like handle my thoughts and collect my thoughts and to be able to record that versus, just a rush thing in the very morning of like today or something. Like it's just I don't know. I'm a very quality over quantity guy, as you know, and it's like especially when I like try to commit myself to a week after week thing. Like if it's not the quality I want, I don't even want to edit it and I don't even want to publish it. And maybe that will happen, but I don't know. I set myself up generally well that I can make enough content to make a quality vlog, so I don't know. Which again, they're only like 2, 3 minutes long, but that's because in a week's time, that's all I can really produce, realistically.
Right.
But
I'll have to go down to Columbus with you sometime. I mean, I know you said you're moving in pretty soon. There's some
yeah,
things I'd like to see in Columbus. Mostly, I mean, I'm a big escape room player, and there's some that um my girlfriend and I both want to play down there. So
mm,
we'll have to come visit you sometime. And
yeah. I mean,
Columbus
you
really
could
is
have.
just a beautiful city overall. Like in a way that I think
Have
Cleveland
you
is
been
not.
there?
I've been to Columbus a handful. Well, we went to the Ohio State University together,
Yes, that was a
for
stupid
starters.
question. It's
I have,
we've been there together. Have
yes,
you been there? Yeah, I
I
went
have
with you.
been, I've been to Columbus at least one or two, at least one other time. My family took a day trip down to Columbus a few months ago.
Mm.
Um, but otherwise, I mean, I've probably only been in downtown Columbus those two times. But it just feels like a beautiful city to me in a way that Cleveland doesn't. And maybe that's just because I'm so familiar with Cleveland. And Cleveland's definitely beautiful in its own right. I
Yeah,
mean, being on the lake helps, but I don't know. There's something about Columbus that I just really like, and I would love to spend more time down there for sure.
I have a counterpoint, which is kind of funny because like I'm the one who's moving there. Um, but I disagree. I
Really.
really do. Like when I'm on the 11th floor of the Thompson Library looking out on Muir Lake at the Ohio State University and um downtown Columbus, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty. But you know what would be prettier?
If there was a
Uh
lake,
if there's a lake for one, and if there was the skyline. Go on Google and look up the Columbus skyline for me.
I will look up the Columbus skyline for you.
Yeah. It's it's pretty puny in comparison to Cleveland. Not like that puny, but it looks for being the capital of the state in the 14th or 15th largest city in the United States. The skyline I don't think is on par. I really don't.
I I mean, I see what you're saying. There's definitely a difference, and again, I really do think that Cleveland's is propelled by its lakeside status. But yeah, I mean, solely looking at the buildings, there is a little bit less in Columbus. I don't personally think it's that much, but I mean, yeah, a lake is a huge advantage.
And there's
And
the Allegheny River, like they have water going through downtown, but it's not Lake Erie, which apparently some random video I saw that it was like talking about some source I don't know if it's a news source or whatever ranking sort of thing, but they ranked Lake Erie number one, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like in
even though
terms
it's
of
the
the lakes.
smallest of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, I mean I don't know how they ranked it, but it was number one. So
Hmm.
go Buckeyes. I don't know. But
Yeah, there you go. Really go
but
with Vikings would be more appropriate, but yeah.
whatever. But anyway, yeah, Columbus. Thing is, when you only visit Columbus a couple of times, you don't get to see the drivers as well. I mean, as in terms of you don't get to see drivers as like how I have, how I've spent weeks there and hours and upon hours now on Columbus roads. Like the drivers are everything is faster. They're way more cutthroat. They will cut you off and they don't give a damn. Columbus it happens, but it seems like they actually care a little bit more and they're way definitely not as fast. And the highways are like at least the highways that I take around the university and whatnot are they're smaller, so it's way scarier as a Cleveland boy who's used to like, you know, 4 to 6 lane highways that seem
Well, those are
endless
some
and that
narrow lanes, though. I don't like
yeah,
driving.
there are some. There are some. Yeah, but it's you're much more common to find, full 4 lanes. At least the ones that I'm usually taking. I mean, you're further out towards Cleveland than I am. But um like I don't know, but in like Key Tower is so big. We have so many more skyscrapers. I think but Columbus definitely has a larger like reach. Um, like absolutely. I mean, it is a bigger city, has a bigger population to the point that like the suburb I stay in is 20 minutes away, and half of the neighborhood is still technically in Columbus, and I'm driving 20 minutes away. That's like my city being a part of half of your neighborhood, and you live 20 minutes away from
Yeah,
me.
no, that does
Like
it sounds
it's
wrong when you
that
say it.
wide. Yeah, like it's that wide.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean Columbus. It's like the number one city for young professionals, whatever random source. Like it's a very growing city, and I know I'm going to get to love it more. And I'm actually uh meeting up and going to the German village, in Columbus, which is like an old um German village. Oh, really? But like old, I don't know what I call it, like a cultural area, I guess is
Yeah, there
probably the
you go,
best
like Little
proper term
Italy.
for it. Yeah, kind of like a little Italy, but like little Germany. Like I don't, but um, and we're going, and his family friends actually own one of like the most popular restaurants there, and they have like authentic German food. I'm going to absolutely destroy some potato pancakes. Absolutely some destroy some brats. Like I'm gonna get all up in all of that. Like it's gonna be great. And dude, there we have like the discount tickets program. It's called D-Tix or Dix if you get rid of the T.
There
Um,
you go.
and it's like, dude, the freshman 15, like being in the marching band, ideally, hopefully, praise the Lord, I don't know, hopefully, um, like is gonna be my counter to the freshman 15. But when you got discounted food tours and Columbus has some really, really good food, that's gonna be hard because I get free public transportation all over Columbus and on the university. So like I can get around. And I'm sure these tours, like that's part of it that you get around through that or whatever. Like I don't know, I haven't been on a food tour. But like it's $30. And I'm sure the food tour is at least extensive enough for $30. Like that's I don't know. Those things are very tempting. But um I have access to that. I mean, the discount tickets program is all over. There's even like Cavs games on that, and that's 2 hours away. But that's also
Yeah.
because the only NBA team is in Cleveland. But I don't know. I think I'm just a biased Cleveland boy. I really think I am. And the craziest thing to me is that like at my high school, I was essentially not like known as the Ohio State guy, but at least in my main circles, like even to this day, if anyone has Ohio State questions, they come to me because they know how like passionate I am about the school and how much like of my own individualized research I've done So I really do know a lot of the answers to a lot of their questions, not only because I'm a fellow like incoming freshman who's gone through the same processes or did them before them, um, but also just because I've done my own research so much to answer my own questions that I'm prepared to answer theirs. And the main thing is like, but my main point actually with that is that like you would think that I would be so into Columbus. And again, I haven't moved in yet. I haven't explored downtown. I haven't actually been in like downtown Columbus itself ever. I've only been like by the university, which is outside downtown and like the actual like main city
Hmm.
part. But I've been all over Cleveland. I've walked all over it, took a bunch of photos of really cool like spots around it and all the cool monuments and cool buildings. Like, I don't know. I just, and again, it's like where it's like, well, you just like feel at home in Cleveland because it is home, and I mean, it truly is. But like when I'm like moved into Columbus, I'm not gonna be homesick because of like all I have up here, like besides family, obviously. Like, I'm gonna be homesick because I don't get to go watch the sunrise on the number one lake in the nation whenever I want because it's only, 15 minutes or less away. I don't get to go downtown and see these huge skyscrapers, huge for an Ohio boy. I know like New York would probably be, or Chicago is,
Yeah.
way bigger, but um, like for, Ohio, city, like huge skyscrapers over a big old lake and this beautiful skyline that's not like I don't know. It's just like and again, Columbus skyline isn't terrible, but it's like a medium skyline. Like Cleveland is like big and beautiful, and Columbus is like kind of it looks puny, and it's the capital of the state. That's the thing that doesn't like add up to me. Like I don't know. I'm surprised by it because they have so much population. They also have because they have so much population, they have so much more crime. Do you have the Citizen app by any
No idea
chance?
what that even is.
Okay. It's essentially like an app where its mainly focuses like live crime alerts and just area news and like people in the area can like record things and go live to other users. Like some things it's been actually very good for some communities because like you can get the word out about like missing people or missing animals easier through that and it's more urgent. And they have other services and this is we're not sponsored. This is not an advertisement. But when I'm in Columbus, my Citizen app is popping. And that's not a good thing. You do not want the Citizen app, that is the least thing you want notifications from, because the notifications you get is crime alerts from Citizen. So it's yeah, like I get none when I'm up here. And again, I'm in a suburb of Cleveland, so I'm sure if I was in Cleveland, and I do get sometimes alerts from Cleveland, so I do get those. But when I'm in Columbus or even just in the suburb, do you know how terrifying it is when it's like blah 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 blah, either hit and run or something worse, and it's like 3 miles away. It's like what? Versus here, if I get an alert, it's like 20 miles away because it's in Cleveland, and sometimes it's further than that. But I don't know. That stuff is just there's more crime because there's more population. I mean, that's gonna come with any city, but I don't know. It's quite the journey. I'm sure I we can. I'm sure a later podcast, episode 55, I'm gonna be talking about how in episode 6 I was hating on Columbus so much and had a counterpoint, and I was like, well, now I really love Columbus. I'm sure I will find home there. And I'm sure I will uh, have many things to talk about. And my roommate has knows Columbus very well because he has a lot of family there, and he only lives an hour away in Dayton. Um, so he's like my Columbus tour guide in a way, which is really nice. But like I'll get to know Columbus through him, through my own exploration, through actually living there. Like, I'm sure it will be different, but I don't know. This whole journey has been definitely grueling. I could definitely be doing more. For one kind of cool thing I'm doing is, which I showed off on the vlog that I have to still edit, of course, is I got this journal because
So
I was taught,
terribly sorry to cut you off. If we were assuming that we upload every Thursday, like without
yeah.
stopping, That episode 55 would be May 19th, 2025.
2020. I mean, that's only next year. To be fair,
That is
that's not
true.
that would be actually that would make perfect sense. That's like right after our first year of college.
Hmm.
So I would definitely have some thoughts. So I don't know. DM me that and pin that or something like that,
Yes.
just so we have a record of that. You don't have to do specifically the date, maybe just the month, because we don't know how consistent. Hopefully, we will be, but just do the episode number at least. But as I was saying, um, I got a journal, and I got into journaling mainly just because one of the squad leaders for ARO, which by the way, he's incredible. Shout out Kevin from ARO. He's I think by far the most thorough and best squad leader I've ever been taught by in terms of trumpet roses. Obviously, that's the only rose I'm with. He knows how to say everything the right way and the right way that's gonna make sense and like actually help you. There are some squad leaders that have like different takes or different methods to learn the skills for the band, but like in terms of things that actually work and things that actually are like applicable, Kevin's got it every time. And I don't know, the dude is always high energy, highly supportive, highly highly giving advice. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know, he's a wise man. He's also been in the band for, 4 or 5 years. So, it makes sense. But anyways, he said like one of the things that he's done in the past is he's gone home and he's journaled like stuff from the summer session and skills he wants to work on and just generally his day. And he was talking about how journaling is good in general. Um, and it honestly, it is. He's not wrong. I mean, I was just talking about how he's like always has the right thing to say, and it's kind of cool because you almost like write a letter to yourself about your day, and you can look back, and it's like a good thing to reflect on because especially in my case where like I have like a long-term goal here, so I have a document of every single day. So that's I can see the progression. I can see the little things, and if I forget, oh, what did I want to work on for the week, I can go back a couple days and see my like initial impressions, and then watch that progress go in the days forward. So I don't know. I think that's really cool. And that's something I've been doing. But another point is that it's kind of funny because the notebook I got from Target in the city I stay at, it it has this like cool like face design, but that's not important. The fact that it's called Thoughts because I've been reading Marcus Aurelius, who's the Roman Empire emperor from like the 200s or whatever, who was like a philosopher, thinker, emperor. Like he was just a really odd guy to be emperor, not because he wasn't qualified, because he was to my knowledge, one of the best emperors. But he was just like you don't think of like a college professor as some like gladiator, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say. And like he was in that same realm if we're compare it to the modern analogy of college professor as like a thinker, like an academic, a philosopher. This guy's thoughts, he was just I don't know. And the book is called Meditations. And I'm specifically reading if anyone's interested. Um, oh crap. I took the original cover off, so I don't have the other guy's name. Translated, introduced, and edited by Robin Waterfield. So Meditations is a collection of Marcus Aurelius's notebooks where he's essentially just journaled all his thoughts and his days. Not like specific days, but like everything is organized by journal entries and the different notebooks. I think there's 12 notebooks. I'm like four deep. In every single notebook, it's just like he's just thinking about the universe, thinking about life, thinking about being an emperor, how to live a stoic and just good life and how to be a good man. And the things he talks about, like, the year was 200, like, are things that if you implement this stuff, it will change your life in a lot of ways or just help you be a better man or woman, depends, just a better person in general. But I mean, obviously, he was an emperor and a man, so it's like, I don't know, there's differences there. But um, the most interesting thing to me by far is the fact that he was talking about aspects that are from the Bible and he was like in the era of the early church. So these are things that are like, highly talked about in those times and like new, not new, brand new ideas, but like brand new, more widespread ideas because they were like in a book and all that, or at least somewhat in scripture. And I don't know, it's just really cool because he's like, you get to watch a guy react to the beginning of such an impactful thing, such as the Bible, not to mention ancient Roman Empire history from a first-hand account. Like it's just, I don't know, it's really cool. The introduction is very extensive, but it's also necessary, because you need to know what you're reading in terms of the context of it to really understand it. And I mean, it's not easy stuff. It's honestly harder than reading the Bible, in my opinion, because it's just, I don't know. The guy is very much a thinker, and his style is very complex. But again, that's what the introduction prepares you for. But the real point of all of this was that my notebook is called Thoughts, and his is called Meditations, and I don't think he never named it that. That's what historians coined the whole collection of notebooks. But it was like I even on the cover on the inside you can write your name, and I wrote Notebook One because in a way like I'm journaling like Marcus Aurelius did, and I'm writing my thoughts of every day and what. And maybe I'll include some more complex thinkings or whatever you want to call it, or thoughts is, the actual term. Maybe it's right on the cover. Maybe I'll include some more complex thoughts in the journal later on, but I don't know. Just kind of cute little quirky things in my life, I guess. But
That does
um
sound like a very interesting read. Like something, I mean, even if
oh
it
yeah.
is like hard to stomach, like hard to like comprehend, something from almost 2,000 years ago, like
Yep.
an
And he
insight on
was
how people thought and lived, that is
and it's like,
fascinating.
yeah, and you're reading the diary of a Roman emperor. Like it's just
That
that
too.
itself is kind of crazy. Like you don't read the diary of George Washington. It would be cool if we had
That
that.
would be incredible, actually.
Yeah. Like let me flip to a random page and read something for you. This is to cite him correctly. Notebook 3, Journal Entry 5. Never act reluctantly, selfishly, thoughtlessly, or with conflicting motives. Don't embellish your thoughts with fancy language. Avoid garrulousness and officiousness. There's a lot of big words. I will say I'm also expanding my vocab because every time I read this book, I have my phone ready on Google because there are some interesting adjectives and old words that we do not use anymore at all. Um, Also, let a God within you be the custodian of the creature that you are, a man, an elder, a statesman, a Roman, and a ruler who has taken up a post, but as one who's expecting to be recalled from life and is ready to be released from service, without needing to swear an oath or call a human witness. Be joyful be joyful within and in no need of external assistance or peace provided by others. In other words, you must stand straight, not be straightened. Like the dude's just writing to himself, like advice for himself. He didn't publish these things. He had no intention to publish these things. Historians just got their hands on it and they were just fascinated by it. So they've been um editing it and well, not editing it as in changing the things, but like editorials, like adding little like commentary. Like that's what this whole book I'm reading is. And there's even like there's like the footnotes. Like there's a number 19 attached to expecting to be recalled from life and ready to be released from service, all that. And it says the footnote to that is the military metaphor recurs at, and then it lists all these different entries, as in like showing cross references and different similarities between his entries. And it says, quote, "Life is war," and it quotes one of the other entries. The original source of the metaphor was Socrates and Plato's Apology of Socrates, which is partially quoted by Marcus at another entry. So it even like there's a lot of times that it shows even references to stuff that he was referencing. And again, this is by Robin Waterfield, and my dad actually bought this for me as like a graduation gift, just like a random thing that he thought I think would be cool, and he was right. Um, but I mean, there's all types of different annotations by different authors, and it's all the same material. Um, but it could be different translations because Robin Waterfield is a Greek translator. I'm pretty sure it's Greek. I feel like that's wrong. Did Romans speak Latin or Greek? I swear they spoke Greek. I don't know. I don't have enough time to go through the introduction.
Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
it's Greek. It's Greek. It's first
Okay.
page. Yeah, but the Greek in which Marcus wrote is frequently so difficult that there is always room for another version.
Huh.
Yeah, which again, I mean that's yeah, again, that's where it's like the English translation is already hard enough. Like
Right.
being like the Robin Waterfield is, at least from his own credits and what he was talking about, is like he's a very well-known and extensive Greek translator. Um, just like he's very credible in that field. So that's why I also like that I have this version because I know that the translations are at least somewhat reliable. And his annotations and commentary are incredibly extensive. I mean, there's usually like 4 or 5 footnotes for every single entry, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of entries across the 12 notebooks. But yeah, I mean, again, Robin Waterfield, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, um, literally Diary of a Roman Emperor, who is a major thinker, who got adopted into being a Roman emperor by the emperor, former emperor, his dad. It's like a
Right.
monarchy in a way. But like this dude was an orphan philosopher emperor. Like I don't know, he's a fascinating guy. But yeah, and again, I'm reading the Bible, Alexander Hamilton's biography, and Marcus Aurelius's diary at the same time, which I have been on a hiatus from Alexander Hamilton's because I keep getting way too much into Marcus Aurelius's that I have no motivation to read the other books. Um, like I have no motivation to read Hamilton when I all I want to do is read the other one. So it's kind of annoying in that way because like I want to read multiple at the same time, but it's almost hard for me because I'm just like I get too into one, but I don't know. But yeah, it's a journey. And I don't know. This week has just been, or like I guess the past 2 weeks, as we are reflecting on, has been trying to find the balance because this journey is definitely lonely in a way, for sure. Because like I'm in Columbus by myself, and I have made some friends. I mean, I went rock climbing, as you'll see in the this vlogs, because Ohio State has some really cool rock climbing facilities, and one of the friends that I've made down there is really into that, and he invited me, and I said, you know what, let's go for it. Um, so yeah, that was cool, but also not something I'm good at. So it was my hands were very sore because you do have to develop a lot of grip strength for that. Um, and thankfully, because I do work out, I have a good amount of strength upper body wise that I can move around pretty well, and I was able to do things that even he wasn't, because I have a bit more upper body strength than he has, but he has more grip strength and he also has more reach because he is taller than me, so he's a bigger wingspan and all that. So I don't know. But rock climbing is definitely very dynamic, but also very like cool um sport activity. I don't know. It's kind of weird to call it a sport, but I guess it's a sport. Kind of a very dangerous sport if you're doing like real rock climbing, um but it's I don't know, it taps into the kind of like Lego brain of every little boy in the world where you just get to like explore these boulders and different routes. I don't know. I like that. I will say once I'm actually on campus and I get that facility for free instead of a 15 a day pass, holy
Ooh,
moly, that would be crazy.
that is
I'm not
lofty, man.
well, he bought the summer pass, which is like $90 for the whole summer, but you get access to like all five humongous facilities. Um, so that's not that bad of a deal, but when you're a full-time enrolled student, you get it for free. It's just like part of being a student. So yeah, but like I went one time, I was only there for 4 hours and spent $15. So that's not sustainable, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good introduction. Now I can say that I've done that and that I've done it before I actually, was a full-time student and whatnot. And now I also have like a waiver on file already there. Like they attach it to my Buck ID and everything. But I don't know. It's just finding the balance when I'm there, I'm lonely, but I need the motivation to like continue on this journey. And even my dad like talked about this because I don't know that it was a thing that he was like sensing it. I didn't like talk about it, but it was just kind of like kind of hyping me up in a way and just saying like it's gonna feel lonely because no one else is doing this. Not a lot of people on this planet can say that they're training for that band, and surely not a lot of people on this planet can say that they make that band. So it's gonna be a lonely time, especially when I have plenty of my friends who are just kind of like letting summer go by and just enjoying their time in the sun and whatnot. I mean, you're working your butt off. But I know I have plenty of
I'm
friends
doing a
who
little bit
are
of both.
yeah, and I mean I also have I'm trying to find that balance. Like I even shout out Kevin from Mayro. Um he talked about well him and this other guy named Alessandro from T Row who's also very cool guy and very good at what he does. But like both of them talked about like balance. Like even in this journey where you feel like you need to just be doing something Ohio State marching band every living moment of your day, it is important to find balance in your mental, physical, and emotional health, and that you do other things besides band. I remember Kevin said like make this a good summer regardless. Don't spend your entire summer only focused on this band. Which is kind of like it's kind of a weird thought because it's like counter like you think oh you're gonna do everything that you can for this band you're gonna spend your whole summer dedicated. No, you got to find a balance and you will actually do better. So that's what I've been striving to do because I didn't do the thing is this past week I didn't do enough practice, but I also like was able to just kind of relax and take a step away and I think that's also why I didn't um have the motivation to do the vlog stuff or really record or edit much at all because it was just like that's part of the Ohio State stuff and I wanted to get away from that this weekend and I did that but now I feel a little unprepared for tomorrow but tomorrow morning and early afternoon well not early afternoon I need to be there by early afternoon but tomorrow morning in general I'm going to be putting some work in so I can feel a little more prepared so I can actually have a good session and rehearsal but I don't know. I gotta find like a true balance. Like I need to put my practice stuff on schedule and put leisure time on schedule at all. At all. Not what? Dude, it's too late. Now it's midnight. I can't speak. I need to put my leisure time and my practice time on some sort of schedule that I can like have a set balance and something easy I can follow. But I don't know. I've just been trying to take life at a slower pace because it's kind of hard to believe that it's July already. Um,
That is true.
and to yeah, and to just enjoy the journey for what it is and soak up every little bit of it. Because that was the other thing that Kevin said is like make it a good summer regardless. Because the thing is I can go through this whole thing, then not make it, and I can curse the whole summer. Or well, I can curse the whole summer if that's the only thing I was focused on, and I feel like I wasted a summer then. Or, which I won't feel like that. I don't have that mindset whatsoever. But, or for the fourth time, I feel like I've said it, probably third actually. I'm tired. I don't know. Um, I can go into it being like, you know what? Didn't make the band, but you know what I did? I had a great summer. I made a good amount of friends. I lost weight and got healthier, which is already true, by the way. Um, I like did something that not a lot of people can say that they can do or did, which is train 10 weeks for such an opportunity as grueling as that. And I went through the trial process. So now I know what that's like. So now I have the knowledge and the opportunity that if next year I want to do it again, I am set up and I have somewhat of the muscle memory and I know the entire process and how to do it. And I know what not to do and what to do going forward. So not only have I gained a lot of opportunity through that and a lot of knowledge through that. I've gained friendships, I've gained a healthier lifestyle, and I've gained um just the knowledge of how to endure. That's my true mindset. And that's my mindset if I don't make the band. And that's most of that is still the mindset if I do make the band. It's like all of that, I gain all of that, and I'm also get to be a part of that band and get to, because I mean even during this season is almost more of a grind. You still rehearse 5 days a week, and if I'm an alternate, I have to challenge people and work to be on the field every single week. Like the grind does not stop, especially because even the night you make the band, you have rehearsal at 9 a.m. the next morning when you make the band at around midnight. And you have rehearsal at 9 a.m. and then they do 3-a-day rehearsals, which is around 9 hours of rehearsal in one day for the entire week. And then school starts. And like I said, you rehearse 5 days a week anyway. And then the first game is probably only 2 weeks after that. So like things move fast and it is a huge commitment. But I don't know. It's nothing I don't think I haven't handled, at least in terms of the stress and at least in terms of like a busy schedule. Like, dude, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't charge me rent. I lived in my high school. Like, I was there for way too long, way too often. I was in the PAC, like the PAC, like the fact there was no windows made that place so depressing sometimes because I would be like, in the booth designing lights for hours upon hours, and I would not see daylight. Like, it was grueling, and honestly, I don't know why there isn't child labor laws about that because they definitely violated. Where are my mandatory like minor breaks, bruh? Like, like I didn't get none of that. I was doing all volunteer work. Like, ugh, I don't know. I was even talking to my former choir director about this. Like, it's bittersweet. Like I like I'm happy to be done with high school, but at the same time, I'm glad that I finished decently strong and I don't have to endure that same things again. Like I'm happy that I get to move on to greater things and I am going to miss certain aspects, but I'm also not going to miss the stress of everything I signed up for and the stress of dealing with the immature tendencies of high schoolers versus now I get to work with a lot more professionals and have a lot more freedom in that, we're all adults here kind of thing versus dealing with like literal kids. Like the fact that I was um in groups where I would have to deal with, freshmen as a senior. Like a 14-year-old and a 17 or 18-year-old are completely different in terms of maturity and just like life experience. And you'd think like, oh, it's only a couple of years, but those are completely different stages of life. You're about to leave high school versus you just got into high school out of 8th grade. Like it's only a couple of years,
And
but
even like setting COVID aside, because obviously we were kind of, we entered freshman year at the height of COVID. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we grew as people a lot, maybe a little bit faster than we would have liked because of COVID, but yeah,
yeah,
no, everybody is a completely different person, and they
absolutely.
really should not be blended together.
Like I've learned so well. I don't agree with that because I think upperclassmen can teach underclassmen a lot of
Well,
things.
yeah, but like if you're supposed to be on the same level, you shouldn't be
Yeah, and
on an
I agree with
academic
that.
field at least.
Yeah, but um, but yeah, as you touched on, like I'm a completely different person than I was freshman year. I learned so much in 4 years, so much. I could also beat my freshman year's butt so hard, dude. 'Cause I'm a bigger man, a stronger man, and like. And that's unimportant. That's just a stupid point. But like the thought of like meeting my old self and being like, "What's up, little bro?" Like I don't know. Like, "What's up, little guy?" Like it's just like but again, it just kind of like pays homage to like how much I've really grown, not like physically, well, not like physically, but also physically, but just mentally and emotionally and just life experience and just the leadership positions that forced me to grow and also other stuff. And it's just I don't know. I've learned so much, and that's what I think high school. I think that's one of the best parts about high school is that You don't honestly, the academics are irrelevant. Um, Irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, I think, because not in that you shouldn't have a good academic record. I graduated with a 4.34 GPA. Like I did a couple AP classes. I did well for myself. I took college classes as well, which are part of that GPA boost. But like I had a good academic career, and I still think I learned the most from my extracurriculars in dealing with those in the leadership positions. I learned the most in terms of life skills and how to handle so many different things in so many different directions. How to do stupid Algebra 2 math stuff because I still hate that class. Um, I not only did I forget that the week after I learned it, I I'm never gonna use that ever. Just period. Like versus the life skills, the interpersonal skills, the stress handling skills, the multitasking skills, like all that stuff. I need that, and I need that for college. I need that for life. I need that for so many different things. So I'm very grateful, and I think I have been and was incredibly blessed to not only have all those leadership positions, but also um, have the academic ability to do well, but also just gain all those skills in all that time. So I don't know, but I'm excited to see what's to come. But it is 12:08 a.m., July 2nd, and I think we need to get to bed, Aaron Westlake. I think that's what needs to happen.
I
Um,
think that's an excellent idea.
do you have any closing thoughts on all of that? Any final reflections before we close shop here?
No, not necessarily. I mean, yeah, we there's a lot to gain and a lot of experiences in life, and um yeah, I think it's definitely more applicable in a non-academic sense than there is in an academic sense. We've gone over that in previous episodes, though. We don't need to dwell on it,
Yeah.
I suppose. Um, so no, I don't know if there's anything else I need to say for this one. I think it was a good episode. I think we covered a lot of interesting things as we always do, and um, yeah, I think it was a good episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are 4 away from episode 10. There will be a brand new milestone. We have officially, instead of the lies that we told ourselves last episode
Yeah,
that I believe got cut out, so it doesn't matter.
maybe.
But maybe I don't remember. Um, but we have officially recorded the most episodes ever on a podcast. Um, we have this is our third time trying to keep a podcast going. And I don't know, as we've said before, I think this is more promising in that we've set up an easier system for an easier and more like safety net system where it's just like because it's easy, we can get ahead easier. So then we have a better safety net. So there's less stress and less like failure ability, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again,
No, I see
I'm
what you're saying.
tired, so my vocabulary is dwindling by the minute. But
Yeah.
um just yeah. I don't know. But we are 4 away from episode 10. That will be an interesting milestone, and I'm sure there are many milestones to come, but yeah. Let's go ahead and close this thing out. Thanks for listening. If you're not already in the Discord is a great way to connect with us, and there are links on the podcast. Um, Pretty much everywhere you can find it. It's in the main description. So your invite link is there. But we would love to get to chat with some of you guys and connect with you. And we also host live show recordings as we are doing right now, even though no one is awake for it at 12 a.m. But either way, if you want to connect with us, you want to get feedback, you want to hear the live uncut show, that's a great way to do so. But we're gonna go ahead and end this here, so you can get on with your day. We can get on with our sleep and very early morning. But happy July. By time episode 5 comes out, it will be July 4th. So happy birthday, America. Um, and this is about halfway through July, which is right after. Wait, July? Wait, hold on.
July 11th.
This episode will come out right before my birthday. So happy early birthday to myself. Happy early 18th, July 12th. But let's go ahead and close it out. See you guys.